Good evening. Tonight, a story of international friction on our own doorstep. The world's longest undefended border has become a flashpoint. Canada has blocked a critical land route to Alaska, isolating the state from the rest of the US by road. This isn't just a diplomatic spat, it's a logistical nightmare with profound implications for American sovereignty, security, and daily life. The decision, announced this morning from Ottawa, has sent shockwaves from Washington to Juneau, igniting a crisis not seen in decades. Former President Trump has already fired back, promising consequences and fueling a political firestorm. What led to this dramatic escalation? How will it impact the flow of goods, the economy, and the lives of thousands? Tonight, we break down every angle of this developing story. The Northern Standoff has begun. The question, what happens next? To truly grasp the magnitude of today's crisis, it's essential to look back at the story of the Alaska Highway, a remarkable feat of wartime ingenuity and a modern lifeline that has shaped the destiny of an entire region. This road is more than just a strip of pavement. It's a symbol of resilience, determination, and international cooperation. Built at breakneck speed in 1942, during the height of World War II, the Alaska Highway was designed to connect Alaska to the continental United States through the vast wilderness of Canada. For over 80 years, it has served as the main artery for the movement of goods, people, and ideas, linking remote communities and supporting economic growth across two nations. Stretching nearly 1,400 miles, this route is absolutely essential, not just for Alaskans, but also for commercial truckers, tourists, and the isolated communities scattered throughout northern Canada. For many, it's the only reliable connection to the outside world, a lifeline that brings food, medicine, and opportunity. The Alaska Highway stands as a testament to the enduring partnership between the United States and Canada, yet this relationship has not always been smooth. Over the decades, it has weathered trade disputes, environmental disagreements, and questions of national sovereignty, each testing the strength of cross-border ties. In recent years, tensions have flared, especially during the Trump administration's renegotiation of NAFTA, which brought uncertainty and anxiety to both sides of the border. These disputes have left lasting scars on the relationship. The continued existence of the highway depends on a delicate balance of mutual trust and benefit. Canada allows the US access to this vital corridor, and in return, both countries reap the rewards of commerce, tourism, and shared prosperity. The highway is a living example of how cooperation can overcome even the harshest environments. But today, that trust has been deeply shaken. Political disagreements and shifting priorities have cast a shadow over what was once a model of international collaboration. Severing this vital link is more than just a logistical decision. It's a powerful political statement that could redefine the future of the US-Canada alliance. The world is watching closely, aware that the fate of this highway may signal broader changes in global partnerships and alliances. The crisis erupted at 8 a.m. Eastern, August 27, 2025. In a terse press conference, Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau announced the immediate closure of a 200-mile stretch of the Alaska Highway, citing unresolved Arctic sovereignty and environmental disputes. The move caught Washington off guard. No warning, no negotiation. Canadian authorities quickly set up checkpoints, turning back all US-bound and Alaska-bound traffic. Confusion and frustration erupted at the border, with trucks and families stranded. The closure is precise and devastating. Late August is peak shipping season for Alaska, and over 60% of the state's non-fuel freight arrives via this route. For 730,000 Alaskans, this is an immediate crisis. News reached Mar-a-Lago with lightning speed, setting off a chain reaction that would reverberate across the nation. The opulent estate, often a backdrop for political drama, became the epicenter of a new and escalating crisis. Former President Trump wasted no time. He took to Truth Social, his favored platform, to unleash a blistering response. Disgraceful, Trudeau has blockaded Alaska. Trump's outrage was palpable. He demanded an immediate halt to all Canadian imports, calling for the imposition of 100% tariffs on goods crossing the border. The message was clear. He would not tolerate what he called an economic attack. He didn't stop there. Trump declared, "When I'm back in the White House, this weakness will end on day one." His words were a direct challenge to both Canada and the current US administration. The statement sent shockwaves through his base. Supporters rallied online and in the streets, echoing his call for strength and decisive action. The pressure on the Biden administration to respond forcefully grew by the hour. What began as a diplomatic dispute quickly ignited into a domestic political inferno, with passions flaring on both sides of the aisle. Republicans swiftly rallied behind Trump, amplifying his demands and framing the crisis as a test of American resolve. Meanwhile, Democrats found themselves in a bind, torn between condemning Canada's actions and resisting Trump's aggressive rhetoric. At a hastily arranged press conference, Trump doubled down. "They respected us. They knew not to cross us. Now they're laughing at us," he insisted, painting a picture of lost American prestige on the world stage. "It will be fixed," Trump vowed, his tone leaving no room for doubt. His aggressive stance forced every political actor in Washington to take a side, deepening the partisan divide. The former president had once again placed himself at the center of a national crisis, using the moment to project an image of bold, decisive leadership. For Trump, this was more than a policy dispute. It was a chance to showcase his brand of leadership, promising swift action and unwavering resolve. The situation was no longer a matter for quiet negotiation. It had become a loud public fight, broadcast across every major news outlet and debated in every corner of the country. The US-Canada relationship, once defined by cooperation, was now a volatile political battleground, with the stakes growing higher by the day. The world is watching closely, waiting to see how America will respond to this unprecedented challenge and what it will mean for the future of international diplomacy. The economic shock was immediate. The US-Canada trade relationship, worth $790 billion annually, was rattled. The Canadian dollar dropped, and stocks for trade-reliant Canadian companies tumbled. For Alaska, the blockade is a chokehold. Shipping by sea or air is slower and costlier. Perishable goods are at risk. Supermarkets warn of shortages and price hikes. Construction and mining face costly delays. Politically, the blockade is a grenade in North American diplomacy. The US administration faces a dilemma. A weak response emboldens Canada and draws domestic fire. An aggressive response risks a trade war. Such a conflict would disrupt supply chains and raise prices for consumers. The crisis also threatens international alliances, NATO, NORAD, and could undermine continental security. China and Russia are watching, ready to exploit a fractured North American alliance. The stakes are global. Beyond politics and economics, the human cost is immediate. For nearly 750,000 Alaskans, the highway is a lifeline to family, medical care, and the rest of the country. Travelers are stranded in the Yukon, their plans in chaos. Hospitals in Anchorage worry about running out of critical supplies. Some Alaskans must cancel medical treatments or pay for costly flights. The Miller family, moving to Anchorage for military duty, is stuck in a motel with their children and all their possessions. "We're in limbo. Our savings are dwindling," Mrs. Miller says. Their story is one of thousands. Small businesses along the route face sudden loss of income. The blockade's impact is personal, immediate, and painful. To grasp the blockade's impact, look at the map. The Alaska Highway, the only direct land link, is severed at a 200-mile stretch between Beaver Creek, Yukon, and the BC border. There are no road alternatives, only costly, slow sea or air routes. The Alaska Marine Highway ferry is limited and can't handle the volume. Trade data shows a spike in goods moving now. Essentials like food, building materials, and machinery, all halted. The economic vitality of Alaska is threatened by this single point of failure. The highway is also a critical military route, essential for moving personnel and equipment to key bases. While the military can use airlift, losing land access is a major vulnerability. This blockade exposes a strategic weakness. The consequences are far-reaching. To unpack the diplomatic fallout and understand the stakes, we turn to Dr. Evelyn Reed, a leading expert on US-Canada relations. Her insights shed light on the complex web of history, geography, and politics that have led us to this moment of tension. Dr. Reed explains, "This is years in the making. The Arctic is the key. Melting ice makes the Northwest Passage valuable, and Canada sees this as sovereignty. As the ice recedes, new shipping lanes open, raising the stakes for both nations." Canada's claim over these waters is not just about territory, but about national identity and control over vital resources. The timing is strategic. Canada bets the US is politically constrained, distracted by internal divisions and upcoming elections. But Trump's unpredictable rhetoric could escalate things fast, turning a cold standoff into a heated confrontation. Canada hopes the pain will force US negotiations before a trade war erupts. The goal is to bring Washington to the table using leverage without crossing the point of no return. Best case scenario? Quiet diplomacy prevails, both sides make concessions, and the critical highway reopens, restoring trust and trade. Worst case, a tit-for-tat escalation with tariffs and border closures spiraling into a full-blown trade war, one that could take a generation to repair, damaging economies and relationships on both sides. Trump's involvement is a wildcard, pressuring Washington to act tough and complicating already delicate diplomacy. His approach could inflame tensions or force a breakthrough, but the risks are high. Trudeau started a fire, Trump's thrown gasoline on it, Dr. Reid says, highlighting how leadership styles and personal politics have intensified the crisis. The challenge now is clear: find a diplomatic fire extinguisher before the house burns down. Both nations must act quickly to prevent irreversible damage. As the world watches, the hope is that cooler heads will prevail, and that this deep freeze will thaw before it becomes a permanent rift. Where do we go from here? The situation is tense and fluid. Canada stands firm on sovereignty. Alaskans face shortages. Washington is roiled by calls for retaliation. The priority: de-escalate rhetoric and open direct talks. The welfare of Alaskans and North American stability must come before politics. This is a test of leadership, diplomacy, and the resilience of an alliance. The blockade is more than a headline. It will shape the continent's future. We'll keep you updated. Good night.